From a puppy that seems like it could have been our best friend to a battle stuck in time, here are 10 animals found frozen in ice. Number 10. Frozen pup. In eastern Siberia, a frozen pup was recently discovered by locals. While unclear whether the puppy is a dog or a wolf, there is no doubt that this is one ancient canine. It was found in permafrost in the far eastern edge of Russia in Yakutsk, according to a report by the New York Times. This frozen pup is 18,000 years old, but it looks like it could have been someone's beloved pet practically yesterday. It had been buried for thousands of years inside a lump of frozen mud. But the most interesting thing about this incredibly well-preserved frozen animal is that scientists believe it could help them to understand the connection between modern dogs and ancient wolves. Scientists were pretty shocked with this find, as it's not every day scientists discover frozen animals complete with their fur, skeleton, teeth, and even whiskers totally attached. Scientists named him Dogor, which means friend in the Yakutsk language. DNA testing has shown that the little puppy was a male, but even after 2 rounds of testing, it was still too hard to say whether he was a dog or a wolf. He may have been an ancestor to both. As the ice melts, more and more animals are being found. In 2016, a 12,400-year-old puppy that still had its brain, heart, lungs, and stomach intact was found near the same region as Dogor, in the village of Tomat. Regardless of whether little Dogor was a dog or a wolf, the find is equally exciting, and scientists are hoping to unravel the mystery of when and how dogs became our best friend. Number 9. 42,000-year-old foal. If you thought 18,000 years was too much, check out this 42,000-year-old foal recently discovered completely frozen in ice. A foal is a baby horse, and this bizarre ancient animal was found contained in ice inside the Batagaika Crater yet again in eastern Siberia. Scientists believe the colt was between 1 and 2 weeks old when it died, and similar to our frozen pup, the foal drowned in mud and was then frozen. Even more interesting than a frozen horse is the fact that this foal still had liquid blood in its veins even after all these years. This is incredibly rare, as blood typically turns to powder over thousands of years. In fact, this is only the second example of an Ice Age animal being found with liquid blood. It was only the year before, in 2018, when scientists extracted liquid blood from an ancient mammoth carcass. But because the mammoth was only believed to be about 32,200 years old, this new foal has given scientists the oldest blood ever found on Earth, which sounds like a line from a vampire movie, but it's true, and it's incredibly rare. But besides these discoveries, the frozen permafrost kept other liquids well preserved, like urine inside the bladder. Pretty amazing when you think about it. Who knew scientists could learn so much with all these fluids? The species of this animal is known as the Lena horse, Equus caballus lenensis, and researchers have been joining forces to try and clone this species to bring it back to life. They argue that blood is not enough, since red blood cells have no nucleus and therefore do not carry DNA. However, they are targeting the cells and organs, but even there it is a challenge to find the DNA in optimal conditions. Now on to number 8, but first, what do you think about bringing back prehistoric animals? Would you like to see this ancient horse running around? Let me know in the comments below. Number 8. Frozen Siberian bird. This next frozen animal is a bird. That's right, an ordinary bird preserved in ice for 46,000 years. If you want to get specific about it, this bird is a horned lark. It was discovered in northeast Siberia by fossil hunters, and scientists believe this single bird will help them to understand how exactly the ecosystem evolved at the brink of the last ice age. According to an article published in the journal Communications Biology, scientists extracted DNA from this frozen bird carcass and discovered it to be female. This discovery is now giving scientists new information about the dry biome that once covered northern Europe and Asia several thousand years ago. Supposedly, this area was divided into 3 different biological environments when the Ice Age came to a halt about 11,700 years ago. While this sounds like a lot of mumbo-jumbo science talk, basically the frozen Siberian bird shines a light on how these different biomes operated all those years ago. If you're still not interested, this particular part of the world is where the woolly mammoths and woolly rhinoceroses used to call home. The once uniform landscape divided into a tundra, a coniferous forest, and a steppe. Today, there are 2 subspecies of horned lark, one that lives in the far north of Eurasia and another in southern Mongolia. It seems like they've been populating the Earth for thousands of years. Unbelievable! And now for number 7. But first, be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and let me know what animal from the past you wish was still around. Number 7. Yuka bison. Enough of the small animals, it's time to start talking about some big fellas. The next animal I'll tell you about is the Yuka bison, which was discovered frozen back in 2011. Scientists believe that this was the best preserved bison of its age, which dates back all the way to about 10,500 years ago. Back in his day, this bison would have weighed around 1,300 pounds, that's 600 kilograms, and stood 6 feet tall. They found it in a position that suggests it was asleep when it died. It had no injuries and likely perished of natural causes. Although remains of other steppe bison have been discovered over the years, researchers argue that none have been preserved as well as the so-called Yuka bison, which was found with its internal organs almost completely intact. These bison were nothing new to the area at the end of the last ice age. The steppe bison had been living in northern Europe, North America and Asia starting about 2 million years ago, and ending when the ice age finished 12,000 years before today. When picturing a bison in your mind, you are probably thinking of a normal American bison, but the one that was found frozen is significantly larger than a modern bison. It has bigger horns and even a secondary hump on its back, kind of like a camel. Images of this bison have been found in cave art throughout Europe, even so far west as in France. Number 6. Colima woolly rhinoceros. We have all heard of the woolly mammoth, but how many people are aware that there was once a horde of woolly rhinoceros freely roaming around the world? Not only was the woolly rhinoceros roaming through eastern Siberia near the end of the last ice age, but their remains have even been discovered as far west as Britain. And according to scientists, woolly rhinoceroses were one of the most abundant giant mammals of their time. Although today we have found very few remains. In a report by Science Direct, they discuss how the most well-preserved woolly rhino remains were found frozen in 2007 by a group of gold miners during the opening of a gold mine in Siberia. When it was still alive, this woolly rhinoceros is estimated by researchers to have weighed about 1.5 tons. Unlike the rhinos of today that we know and love with their grey, leather-like flesh, this rhino would have had thick fur, a fluffy tail, narrow ears, and a pair of horns. An important finding related to their adaptation tells us about their short legs that refer to a struggle with increasing snow. While most of the internal organs were decayed and gone, the stomach and its contents were still there. Researchers managed to find evidence of grass and sagebrush in the woolly rhino's stomach. It's strange to imagine such a fearsome beast roaming about eating nothing but grass, and it's also hard to imagine how it ended up frozen in a gold mine. Have you ever heard of these woolly rhinos? Let me know in the comments below. Number 5. Celerican pony. The celerican pony is another frozen animal uncovered in the icy region of Siberia and was yet again discovered by gold miners. It seems that more gold miners are finding frozen evidence of ancient animals than actual archaeologists. The miners discovered the pony thanks to its tail and 2 legs sticking through the roof of a rocky tunnel they were digging through, roughly 9 meters below completely frozen ground. This was back in 1968, but it is still one of the rarest finds of frozen animals. The pony, which is properly known as Shavatsky's horse, now only found in the wilds of Mongolia, must have lived between 35,000 and 39,000 years ago. Researchers believe the horse would have only been around 8 years old when it died, and because they found its gastrointestinal tract completely full, evidence suggests a quick death. Because of the strange position in which the horse was found, scientists theorized that it had died after becoming stuck in something like a bog or swamp. Basically, this ancient pony fell, got stuck in a bog, and remained frozen under the ground for nearly 40,000 years before a couple of Russian gold miners stumbled upon it. What a weird life story! Well, at least he was found, and he'll certainly have a lot to contribute to animal history. Number 4. Yuka Mammoth. You undoubtedly came here to hear about frozen mammoths, and I won't let you down. The story I'm going to tell you now is about Yuka, the frozen corpse of a woolly mammoth discovered in 2009 by Yuka tribe members in the Yakutsk region of Russia. It seems that Siberia will take the discovery of all these frozen animals. The mammoth was discovered with its skin and some of its blonde fur extremely well preserved, as well as some of its muscle tissue and ligaments. But what was extremely unusual about this frozen mammoth was its trunk was still totally intact. Researchers believe the animal was about 10 years old when it died, which was about 39,000 years ago. Before the discovery of this frozen mammoth, nobody knew precisely what 10-year-old mammoths were like, as almost all preserved remains were that of adults. The researchers were very surprised to see that the animal had been growing tusks that had yet to break through its skin. Due to some unhealed cuts on the Yuka mammoth, it is believed that the animal was attacked by a predator, most likely a lion. Others claim that they were possibly made by human hunters, who used to steal from other predators, even today. If it is confirmed that these marks were made by hunters, it would be the first evidence of interaction between humans and mammoths. This would be really amazing. Let's hope it happens. Number 3. Unfortunate fox. This poor and unfortunate fox is the strangest ice cube you will ever see. According to a report by the BBC, back in 2017, a hunter found a deceased fox fully encased in ice in the wilderness in Germany, and has since put it on display at his family's hotel. According to a local news agency, the man found the block of ice with the animal inside it beside the Danube River in January 2017. The hunter believes that the fox drowned somehow and then was frozen solid because of the freezing temperatures. This is no surprise to anyone who's been to Europe for any reason in winter, as they do appear to be getting more and more extreme with worse and worse weather. In fact, Europe is getting so cold that this same hunter claims he saw a frozen deer and a frozen wild boar, and that the fox he put on display at his family hotel was the third frozen animal he found in the region. What a peculiar way to die. Number 2. Alaskan Moose Battle. Yes, the plural for moose is indeed moose. This story is about two moose locked in a deadly battle and then completely frozen solid inside a lake. This happens near the remote village of Yakutsk, Alaska, back in 2016. It is an absolutely astonishing sight. The discovery was made by a teacher who had been showing their friend around a nearby volunteer camp when they came upon the scene. The moose were first discovered with their antlers sticking up above the ice. It was later reasoned that the animals must have been fighting over a lady moose. But as you can likely imagine, none of these strong male moose got to do any kind of mating. They both got dragged into the river with their antlers locked together and ended up frozen in the center of the lake. Talk about a couple of moose gladiators. Number 1. Cave lion twins. What is cooler than a lion? How about a cave lion? Or how about two frozen cave lion cubs discovered in the frosty region of Siberia? Yes, after 2 trips out of Siberia, we're back there. A pair of cave lion cubs took the scientific community by storm after they were discovered in Siberia back in 2015. These twin pups, or kitties maybe, that only lived a day or two, had been trapped in the permafrost for 55,000 years, long before the last ice age ended. What makes these cubs especially cool is that they almost could have been used in a bizarre experiment to revive their lost species, which had been the largest cat species in the world. Because the little lions were so young, researchers were hoping to discover traces of their mother's milk inside their stomachs. However, the tiny little cubs were unfortunately killed before they ever had a chance to feed. This is the end of this incredibly depressing discovery. Thanks for watching. Which of these frozen animals did you like the most? Are there any that you would like to bring back to life? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos like these. See you next time!